Right, well, we've got to that time of the morning where sunrise is over, the best colour's sort of gone, and we're now dealing with the bright sun coming up over the mountain, which is beautiful, but it's very difficult to capture without doing HDR. And so what I want to do today, I've had a lot of people ask me about how to set their camera up for HDR, in particular the Nikon D850, but the same principles apply to pretty much any camera. So first of all, let's just understand what's happening with HDR. HDR is a method of taking multiple exposures and blending them together. And so what you need to do with your camera is you need to be able to take a series of photos or images where the exposure value has been changed for each of the images. So right now I've got my camera set up to take 5 shots at 2 stops apart for each shot. So I'm actually covering 10 stops of light in my 5 images. Now that means I get one that's very dark, that's very underexposed. I also get one that's very overexposed. But it's going to allow me to be able to capture the dynamic range of the entire scene. So what your eyes can see, you're able to capture on the sensor. Now, bracketing has a couple of benefits anyway, and you've probably heard a lot of film photographers would have bracketed. If you've ever shot film, you shot something like Velvia, which is quite sensitive to under and overexposure, it was quite common for photographers to bracket their shots because then they knew they were going to get one that was good. And so bracketing has that advantage, even with digital. There's no cost to take lots of images, so bracket away. The other thing that bracketing gives you is the opportunity to capture all the dynamic range from the scene and to be able to blend those together with HDR. So I'm just going to talk you through how to set that up on your Nikon D850. I'm just going to capture this nice big wave coming in first. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'll talk you through what I'm doing here. So the easiest way with the Nikon D850, and it's quite easy, most cameras have a button that has BKT on it. So the Nikon D850 up here on the side of the body, up where if it had a flash, it would be there. Let me just turn my remote off because it's on, there we go. There's a button there that you press and you hold it down. Now when you hold that button down, you get a couple of choices on the top screen up here. And if you move this front wheel, it allows you to choose how many stops apart your bracketing is. Now you can choose between 1/3 of a stop all the way up to 3 stops for how far apart your stops are going to be. The second adjustment you get is with the rear wheel, so your thumb wheel, and there you're choosing how many frames. And so you can choose, I think it's from 3, is it? Oh no, 0, 3, 5, and then minus, there's a minus and plus. So I just do it on 5 frames is what I do. So you just want the setting where it says 5F, okay, on the top screen. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Probably not real well. So I have 5F and I have 2 stops selected. Now, there is another trick that's really quite cool because when you do that, you'll notice that you have to shoot all 5 images separately. So you have to press the shutter button every time individually for each shot. If you put your camera on continuous high, when you hold the shutter button down, I'll get close so you can hear it. You'll hear it just shoots off all 5 exposures. Now I've got mine set up on aperture priority and I'm at f11 and I'm just letting the camera work everything out for me. Just make sure I've got the focus where I want it. And yeah, the camera will work everything out for you, and you just, when you get back home, you can grab those 5 images and you can merge them together in your HDR software of choice. Now you can do it with Lightroom, you can do it with Photoshop, and there's a stack of other third-party software. You just got to sort of decide what's good and what's not. I mean, they're all pretty good. And HDR is one of those things where you just got to be careful you don't overdo it. It's very easy to overdo HDR and it can look quite ghastly if you're not careful. So just be careful when you're doing that. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it. I'm at ISO 64 and it's just taking the shots. It's taking 5 images from very blown out to, to not so blown out. I must only have it on 3 because it's only taking 3 shots. So I need to adjust that back. Yeah, I definitely do. I had it on 3 frames. At 2 stops, and 3 is okay, but 5 is ideal. Okay, 5 gives you a much wider dynamic range, so let's just do that. Make sure we're focused again. I'm just using the touch screen focus. Yeah, there we go, there's 5 images. So it's just a matter of letting the camera do the work for you. I'm shooting directly into the sun, by the way, which is always difficult even with blending. But yeah, it's taking a really bright image. If I look at what it's doing 1/5 of a second, 1/20th of a second, 1/80th of a second, 1/320th of a second, 1/1250th of a second. So it's just changing the shutter speed for each shot. and that's how it does it. So the camera just takes care of it all for me. So there you go, that's how you do HDR on a Nikon D850. If you've got any questions, just leave them down below in the comments, and yeah, I'll post a few of the photos up now so you can get a feel for what type of shots you can get with bracketing with HDR. All right, so we're back from our shoot and we've got all our images loaded up into Lightroom, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to show you the benefit of doing bracketing, because you can sometimes just grab one of your 5 images and use that for your final image, depending on what you want to use the final image for. So if you're just sharing it on social media or something like that, just a quick and dirty processing of it, then you can usually use one image, depending on the camera that you've used. The other thing I'm going to show is how you take all 5 of the exposures and you blend them into one. Now, when I shot this image, I didn't realize that I still had my exposure value at -1.7. And so just a note that when you are shooting and setting up your camera, it is going to do your unders and overs based on your reference point that you set as your exposure. So because my exposure reference point was at -1.7, the 4 stops under is actually 5.7 under what it considers to be the normal exposure with my matrix metering or relative metering. Now, it doesn't really matter. My camera was set up to get the best possible exposure on the day, and then I've done unders and overs for that, which is, I've done 2 stops under, 4 stops under, 2 stops over, and 4 stops over, and then I've got my reference photo in the middle, which is would be the camera's deciding that's the best exposure. So normally you just have no exposure value compensation dialed in, and that will be your reference photo. So let's just jump across into Lightroom. And we'll have a look first of all at some images, and just that example where I said you can take one of these and you could use it for your final image. Now, it does depend on the camera that you're using and how powerful the sensor is in this. This one here is obviously a D850, and the sensor is very, very good. So if I just bump up the exposure right now, you'll sort of see how much detail, if I bump up the shadows as well, how much detail this sensor has captured, even at -5.7, which is incredible. Now, having said that, if we look closely, you can see it's quite yucky in the shadow zone. Because it's trying to pull up the details, the shadows is quite yucky in spots, but it's still amazing how well it has actually pulled up the details. So that's our base, our bottom one, okay, which is -4. The next one then obviously brings it up just a couple. Once again, we can just bring up our exposure value and our shadows just so you can see how much detail is actually captured in that particular exposure. Not as bad in the shadows, but still quite unusable, a bit yucky. Let me just reset those back to 0, and then we'll go up to the next one. Now, this was the middle one, or what I call my reference. And the reason for that, well, why do I call it my reference? I call it the reference because really it is the one that I had decided was the right exposure if I was just using one exposure. So because I was already shooting sunrise before I did this sort of tutorial, I'd already been capturing sunrise, and I was using this particular exposure level as my exposure. So it's probably the one that we should reference off of. And you'll see that if I bump up the shadows, bump up the exposure a little bit, bring the highlights down, maybe a bit of bump up the whites, bring the blacks down a little bit, you start to see that we actually get quite a usable image. Even in the shadows, there's not much loss of detail, there's not much weird funky noise going on, and you could easily use that image. So I'll just reset that back, and I'll show an example of one that I've sort of quickly edited. And then you get the ones that are now over. So this is the +2. As you can see, the starburst is quite bright. Once again, if we have a look here, you'll start to see that the details are starting to get lost up here. So you can see there's a lot of pure white here. That's with me bringing the highlights all the way down. I could drop the exposure down. You're never going to retain that detail. It's gone forever. So that's something just to keep in mind, once you do these overs. But really, I'm not exposing for the sky now. I'm trying to expose for the foreground here in this one here. And then if we have a look at if we just go over here now to the next one, which is the 4 over, and you'll see that this one, I'll drop the highlights back. I'll even drop the exposure right back, and you'll see that there's all of this information. The sky has been lost, and that's why it's just that big white blotch there, because that information is gone. Okay, so that's 4 stops over exposed. But once again, that's what you need when you're doing HDR. So if we have a look at one that I did, now this is one that I quickly edited from that middle exposure. So it just shows you that you can use your middle exposure. So bracketing, even if you're not sure whether or not you're going to capture enough detail, what bracketing means is you've now got two options. One option is that you can take the middle exposure and develop that to a point where it's usable, which is what I've done here. And you know, all I've done is add some quick and dirty sort of effects here. So the couple of graduated filters and some brushing in. That's all I've done, nothing major. And you can see that I've adjusted all these settings here. So you can see the exposures up a little bit, highlights down, shadows up. Just mucked around with things a bit. I haven't even touched the curve. Just to show you that you can go through and you can make an adjustment. So let's say you just wanted to share this image on Instagram. Here's a square crop of it, you know, and that would be fine. So instead of mucking around with merging HDR, you could easily do this. Now, the other thing that I was going to show you is that you can then take your images. So let's have a look at a more extreme example. These ones I took at the end of sunrise, just before I packed up. The sun was quite high up above the mountain now, and you can sort of see that that's my 5 exposures. To do HDR in Lightroom is all you have to do is select all 5 exposures. So just hold your shift key on, click the first image and then the 5th image, right click, and what you want to do is go to photo merge and select HDR. Okay, so see HDR in the menu there, and you click that. Now, what will happen is it will merge them for you. Now, I've already merged this previously because I wanted to save some time. But I'll just explain to you a couple of things that are happening here. So on the menu, there's auto align, which is great if you move anything at all. So sometimes if you've got the auto focus on, it might move slightly, or maybe something you're hand holding, you're taking 5 shots handheld. Auto align will just make sure your images are auto aligned. Auto settings is going to adjust some settings in your image. I believe it adjusts like your shadows, highlights, exposure value, etc. So you can turn that on or off. Let's leave it off for now. Let's do a bit of ghost setting. Ghosting. We'll talk about ghosting. So I'll turn auto settings back on so you can see what's happening. Because if you don't click auto settings, you're going to have to make those adjustments afterwards once you get the final image. And I'll show you, we'll leave auto settings on. I'll show you that Lightroom is actually going to have adjustments pre-made for me because I've automatically selected them. And it's just the settings that are in the develop module. What deghosting does is if something in your image is moving, so you'll see here, of course, the water was moving. As I go from none to low, you'll actually see the water moving. See that changed? If I go to medium, you should see another change. It's just building the preview. And just keep in mind, this is just a preview. It's not the final image. So you see now that's a bigger area. And if I do high deghosting, it's going to select a bigger area. The downside of deghosting is sometimes with edges with the sunlit behind it, it can really do some weird stuff. So I'm going to recommend you don't switch it on for into the sun photography, and you just deal with the fact that the water looks a bit funky. But, you know, we're used to seeing that in photography anyway because we quite often slow our shutter speed down. So if you want to see what that looks like, I'll just click on the high and I'll just click the show deghost overlay. So now you can actually see what area the deghosting is doing. If we go to medium, let's see what it's doing. Let's go to low, and it's sort of just showing you the area that it is trying to deghost. We'll go to none. All right, that's pretty much it. Let's just hit merge. Now, I typically don't use Lightroom to do HDR merging. I'm just doing it this time because I know that a lot of you will have Lightroom. It might be the most accessible software you have. There's many different software programs out there that do HDR merging. And what I suggest we'll do is down in the comments section down below, if you've got a software you've used and you like, then put it down below. I'm not recommending anybody. I'm not sponsored by anybody. So that'll keep it totally unbiased and you can just, go through the comments down below and hopefully find a link or two to maybe a free trial or something where you can get to try some of this other software out. There's plenty of software out there when it comes to HDR merging. Now our HDR has been merged, and that is pretty much the image we just saw in our preview. So it's been done. Now what you can do with this now is you can make the adjustments. If you have a look at the adjustments on the right hand side, they've already got adjustments made, and that's what that auto settings do. I don't think it's any different to pressing the auto button. You know, when you this, you know, if you can see that auto button there. If I reset settings, you see it's put them all in the middle, and then I just hit that auto button. I think all that is doing when you select that and you're merging is the same thing. Okay, so whether you do it during the merge or not doesn't really matter. It just gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. Now, once you've got your image, then you can go through and you can sort of make some more changes if you like. You can sort of, you know, put more contrast in. Maybe you want to warm it up a bit. Just like any other image, you can do whatever you like. You know, you can come to make it yours, make it, you know, how you like it. And so that's one of the good things about Lightroom, is that once you've got it in there, you can sort of play around. And if we zoom in, you'll sort of see that it's retained all the details and the shadows. There's nothing too funky going on. If you do you can see there is something funky going on there. That's actually water splashing and moving, so it's just captured that. Yeah, that's a bit of a rainbow. So you might want to heal that out. You might want to keep it in there. I don't know. Depends on what you're after in your image. We'll just quickly heal that out of our image, and you can go through and do whatever changes you want. That's the beauty of Lightroom, is once you've got your image done. So that's how you do HDR. What I suggest you do is just trial it a bit, and a great use of HDR is inside a house. Real estate photographers use it a lot because it's the best way to capture all the details inside a house and outside of a window, because of course the light and shadow is quite different. So the good thing about HDR is you can actually practice it at home. So just maybe set your camera up and work out how to do the bracketing. If you've got the D850, of course, I've just shown you how to do it. But if you don't have the D850, just grab your manual out or hit YouTube for another tutorial, and you'll see how to set your camera up for the bracketing. Get those 5 images, and you can do them 1 stop apart if you want, do them 2 stop apart, whatever you want. With the D850, 2 stops works really well for me. I used to do them 1 stop apart when I had the D700 years ago and I was doing a lot of HDR. So you just decide what's going to work well for you. And once you trial a few different options in your HDR software of choice, you'll work out what's going to work best for you. But yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you let me know by hitting either the thumbs up, or if you thought it sucked, give it the thumbs down, and leave a comment down below though. If you do give it the thumbs down, leave a comment down below and let me know why you think the video was no good and what I could do better. I'd love to hear from you. Always open for your feedback. But if you did enjoy it, make sure you give it the thumbs up, and please leave a comment down below and let me know how you went with creating your HDR images. Now, the other thing I wanted to let you know about real quickly before we wrap up is if you haven't already, you can head across to Facebook and join my On 3 Legs photography group. Just look for the On 3 Legs, that's with the number 3 photography group on Facebook. You've just got to answer a couple of simple questions to join the group. It's a private online community, and what you can do is you can come in there and you can share a couple of your HDR test images, and I'll be able to do a bit of critiquing and reviewing them there for you as well, along with everybody else in there. It's a pretty vibrant community of photographers, so I'd love to see you in there. All right, until next time, I hope you get out there and you make some images. See ya.